So, Raw Hogan here, Punchout Boxing. Delighted to be here with my colleague Dave Joha and special guest Regan SLAYMAKER, one of the movers and shakers in the industry. Always full of inside info. We'll come to that at the end of the show. He's the go-to man for boxing gossip.
Trying to be, right?
But it's
Trying to be.
doing a great job.
Cheers,
Midsummer
mate.
review. Half the year of 2025 is gone. A lot of boxing has happened, some good, some bad, and we're going to talk about it. So, yes, we'll start with our guest, Reeks. Just generically, highlights to start with of the year.
Highlights have got, I mean, for me personally, mainly because I was there, better be a Bivol too. Um, I don't think I blinked for the 12 rounds. Every single tiny movement, like both of them done, was unreal. Like the occasion of that card being around the fighters was unbelievable. I mean, yeah, it's just unbelievable. I get excited by the tiniest of fight weeks. Like I was buzzing for Catterall Barboza the week before. The fight didn't turn out to be kind of as exciting as it was, but I'm excited for anything. But Better Be Bivol 2 was massive. Crocker Donovan won. I was expecting a 50-50 fight going into that, and I was expecting a good fight, but I think the occasion kind of got to me when I was there as well. And I remember being so ill on the flight to Belfast and the fight that happened, the controversy afterwards, and then seeing Andy Lee talk to Marcus McDonnell in the hotel lobby afterwards. That was quite funny. That was funny as well. But like that was a big occasion. I'm looking forward to getting back to Belfast in September. I feel like I'm taking everyone else's. I feel like everyone else's answers because it was only a few points. But Ben Eubanks got to be up there. Um, there's been so many. I'm probably missing a few. I'll tell you what one I am gonna bring up because I don't think you will. Watching Angel Fierro versus Isak Cruz. I don't think I've ever seen a war like that. Neither of them threw a jab for 10 rounds or however long it was. It was incredible. But yeah, and then we've just come off Usyk the Bar too. I mean, we're always spoiled in
Yeah.
boxing, I think, but this year and last year especially, they're kind of all merging into one. Right, you were just saying about Junto Nakatani's knockout against Maloney, saying how good it was, and I was like, oh, it's 2 years ago, mate. Like, we're getting all these big things. But mate, I don't know about you guys, Dave. I don't know if I passed to you, but I mean, I'm just like it's all blurring into one. I bet we'll come up with fights later that we've just forgotten because even the undercard fights are unbelievable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, you're absolutely right. I think it gets to a point where everything just merges into one. I mean, look, Raw, you touched upon it earlier. This is only the midway point of what is 2025, and we've got some fantastic fights to look forward to. And let's talk about the future after this. But September is absolutely huge. It's buzzing. Canelo versus Crawford. Wow. Again, I keep on saying it, not just for boxing, but for world sport. And it's going to be on Netflix as well. If you're a subscriber, you're getting this for free. The end of pay-per-view potentially as well. Another good talking point. Turkey Al Sheikh said, no more pay-per-views come November. We've got Moses Atuma versus Dillian White, September the 16th. Some massive fights coming up. But in terms of what I've looked forward to so far, for me, the biggest spectacle on this on our in our country was Usyk versus Dubois 2, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, the first time on British soil. I mean, as an event, Ben Eubank, absolutely massive as well. Just talking about it gives you goosebumps, and being part of that fight week was electric. So some great talking points, and then we'll talk about some upsets as well. But huge! I can't believe, guys, we're already in August now, and the year's almost done. And what a great year for boxing 2025 has been so far. Rob, what about yourself? What have you looked forward to so far?
Yeah, you both mentioned some of the biggest events there. As you said, the one that we've just seen, Usyk and Dubois, an ending that I don't think any of us predicted. We got to witness a historically great event and a historically great fighter in action. A privilege to watch him. Yeah, as you said, that card in February in Riyadh, that super card, which was headlined by Bivol Beterbiev, reminiscent of the super cards of the 90s that Don King used to put on. And of course, there's something similar coming up again in November. So we'll probably talk about that when we talk about the, what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year. A personal favourite of mine as an event, yeah, you did mention, of course, the Ben Eubank event. And by the way, viewers, remember me and Dave, with a bit of help from Regan, we did produce a commemorative magazine for that, which you can get over on Amazon for only 99p. But
nice plug there, Rob. Very nice plug there.
me personally, though, as you know, when I've had some personal experience of a fight night, I liked Ipswich. Fabio Wardley. I mean, the whole atmosphere when you're there, there was a bit of a thunderstorm. So the arena was, Portman Road was empty for much of the card, but believe you me, it was ram full by the time the main event, the hometown hero Fabio came out, and the fight didn't disappoint. What a fight. Classic come from behind, getting outboxed and then pulling out an equalizer. That's what Fabio did. And yeah, just the arena that, with the rain, but the crowd still roaring the hometown favourite on. For me, that was quite a great event. And I also think going forward in this country, I think those are the sort of events that are going to be bigger, because there's a lot of talk about, well, who's going to be the next superstar after, AJ and Fury, probably Usyk when they're gone. I don't think there will be a superstar in the same mold. What I think we're going to get is these regional stars who are really big in their locality. And I actually like that. I'm a big believer in, support local. So it's great. And I think that might be a harbinger of things to come. So, yeah, those were my three favourite events of the year.
I mean, you mentioned there about Ipswich, and Regan, please jump in when you get an opportunity. Was it a good fight, though? I mean, look, with all due respect, it was the ending, wasn't it, that made it more shocking, more gratifying. So from what I saw, again, I was watching at home. You guys had the privilege of being there on this occasion, but it looked like it was a no disrespect to the combatants there. I mean, Fabio Wardley, great display, great ending as well. And you close the show with an equaliser, because that's what it's all about, isn't it, at the end of the day? But was it a good fight, though, up until then? Because it looked completely one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, Ra, I think I had it 2-2 through 4, which might have been quite generous to Fabio at the time. But then from round 4 onwards, I think I gave everything to Justice Hooney, and I was kind of like, do you know when you're watching a fight that's so one-sided, you almost like switch off from it, because you just kind of you know what's coming. That's literally how I was looking at it, and then then Fabio throws a punch just as he does it on instinct. Like, genuinely, I fully agree with Barry Jones and you say, he's one of the most exciting fighters in British boxing right now, because he just proves he can be literally so down on any scorecard and just pull that out. Like, it's like the Fraser fight. Like, he was losing around quite comfortably, and then whack, and Fraser's on his back, and he's won the round again. Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I think we'll go into upsets of the year. We're jumping around, so I apologise, but that's probably my upset of the year. Not because I didn't think Fabio could have won beforehand, because I always thought he could have. He's got a punch power that could knock out a horse. But just the way that fight was going, I think even Fabio was a bit in disbelief in the post-fight press conference. I don't know about you, Ro, when you were there. Like, even Frank Quarren was like, "Oh, like what have he done?" type thing. Like, it was mental, and I think he's going to take some beating, Fabio Wardley, because either some fighters are going to play so coy that they don't want to get hit on the chin by him, that they're going to be almost running around, or they're going to go straight into the fire with him and try and knock him out, and then they get caught himself. And I think if there's one person you don't want to get caught by in the heavyweight division right now, is probably Fabio Wardley, because he if you're not asleep, you're staggering around, and you're going to be a wounded animal. Like it's really exciting. I think regional stars. I think him in Ipswich, Ryan Garner in Southampton. That atmosphere was electric the other night. Like that was really, really good. Nick Ball in Liverpool, Dave. We've shared.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him in Riyadh in a couple of weeks. I think it's in 2 weeks. But I really think they should keep him in Liverpool. David, I don't know about you. I think last time, correct me if I'm wrong, mate, they sold out the whole place, didn't they? Last time,
Yeah,
especially.
It was an absolute joy to watch him fight as well. And what was really pleasing about it as well was what he said to us after the fight. He waited for everybody to do an interview, and he said, and I think it was Georgia or another colleague for boxing now, and she's like, "I'm so sorry we're keeping you here late," and he says, "No, I want to do this because it's because of you guys that I get to speak to the fans." And we thought, wow, this was at 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we didn't get out till 1 in the morning. Yeah,
it was another late one. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, Ipswich, from what I saw, looked electric. And Ra, in the press conference, I mean, Regan mentioned it, but did Fabio have a look of shock on his face, which is, look, I've pulled this off. How on earth did I do that? Was it a case of that?
No, I didn't interpret it that way at all. In terms of the fight, I thought it was a good fight. Yes, it was becoming it had by the ending it had become one-sided. I agree with Regan. Apart from after the first 4 rounds, it weren't competitive. But the way I interpreted it was that he was waiting for the opportunity to do what he did. And so I think that for me, it was still a case of, we've got to still watch this and be on edge till the end, because it could happen. And sure enough, it did. Did he really believe he could do it? I think he did. I mean, one thing about Fabio is he does hang in there. I didn't see it as he was losing heart or whatever. He clearly had no answer for Hooney's boxing ability, but he does have that. He has got that warrior's mindset that, I've got to hang in here. If the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it and I'll turn it round. And that's what he did. But as he said, and also the atmosphere was electric. That's one thing about British fans. If our team or if our man is down, the fans still roar you on. They don't go silent and start leaving halfway through or whatever. They do still roar you on. And I wonder whether that was a big factor. Actually, never asked him that, whether the crowd did help keep him in there, given that he was getting worked over for quite a few rounds. But
it's probably the case. I mean, I think I agree with you to every respect there, because the crowd does cheer you on. It's the extra wind in your sails, isn't it? To be fair, and that's what probably did it. I mean, what a punch though! Would that be your guys? I'll go in there. Knockouts of the year so far. We're jumping around a bit because there's a lot to discuss so far. But would that be up there for your knockout of the year? Is it your knockout of the year?
I'll go first. For me, definitely, yeah, because again, I was there to see it live, and it just hits differently when you're there live and you see, hear the roar of ecstasy from the crowd, all of that. But I think just the way it came about, like a bolt from the blue, it was that classic, come from behind and turn it around with one punch. So for me, and given what was at stake as well, the interim WBA heavyweight championship in front of his home fans, all of that. And, the backdrop of his story, coming from white collar, whereas Justice was like a top level amateur, was meant to have been an Olympian, all of that. So, yeah, for me, that was KO of the year for me so far. What about you, Reece?
Yeah, what about yourself?
I was going to say, imagine running into Fabio Wardley on a white collar night. That imagine like being drawn against him. That'd be terrifying. Knockouts of the year, I think Brian Norman over Jin Sasaki. I think like that was
Yeah,
like
that was
correct me if I'm wrong. Like someone will probably put this in the comments. I don't think we've had any knockouts that the fighter has literally been like flat out on their back. Like this year, I don't think we've had many. Like that one, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen too. Like Johnny was like that was a bit of a scary one. But I think Brian Norman, Jin Sasaki was one of the ones this year where you kind of watch it and you go, "Oh, is he going to be?"
yeah,
which is the thought that we all go when we watch these live. That's the last thing we want to feel. But sometimes with the sport we're in, we do think like that. It was brutal and just. I think Brian Norman. I don't think many people rate like. Sadly, he's world champion, but I think that's the fight that made everyone go, "Oh no, he's a serious guy." In that, what this might be recency bias as well, Dave. And you're going to say another one that was really recent, but one thing it wasn't really. It was probably more a stoppage of the year than knockout of the year. Ryan Garner against Reece Bellotti. I think that win's going to go with all the fights that we've had this year. I think that's going to go under the radar. That was a really good. Like I think the more there's a really good stoppage by the referee, but as stoppage wins goes, I think it was really impressive. I think that was career best performance from Ryan Garner as well. But I think my knockout of the year got to be Brian Norman, Jin Sasaki over Jin Sasaki.
Yeah, that was a brutal one, wasn't it? That was brutal. That's only come to mind now when you've mentioned it, to be fair, because we always think about recent fights that we've been to. I mean, we were lucky enough to cover Usyk versus Dubois too, and that's why I've picked, the master that is Usyk. It was like watching Leonardo da Vinci paint. It literally is like watching a master at work, isn't it? I mean, the knockout. I'm going to be honest, Raw. You when we were doing our predictions, a stoppage is something that we didn't have in mind. I thought you'll go the points. So I was looking for improvements from Daniel Dubois, and if I'm being totally honest, these improvements they just didn't materialize, did they? As much as he tried, he was backing him up a few times, but it just didn't work. And the knockout of Daniel Dubois was mine.
I don't know. I think whilst the fight ended sooner and ended quicker and was still the same way, I think we saw a better Daniel Dubois in the fight the second time. Like it was the same way. Like I'm clutching at straws here, like because it like for all the reasons that I've said, the fight still ended in a knockout and it was a more brutal knockout, things like that. But I think he made Usyk think more quick and earlier on in this fight than he did in the second fight. I think the only time that Usyk was in any little bit of danger in the first fight was when he hit him. When he hit him, I was going to swear then, was when he hit him down below, and he kind of had to give him a couple of minutes for himself to just reflect on it, and because that's the only real round I think that you could have given Daniel in that first fight. I might be wrong. I haven't watched the fight in a while, but I think he won more rounds in that second fight. I think my brother staunchly disagrees with me on this one, but I think I gave him more rounds in that second fight throughout the rounds it lasted than the whole of the first one. But like you said, Usyk just has an answer for everything, and it doesn't matter who's coming and who's in front of him. He'll work them. He'll work them out. He is just unbelievable, isn't he? And the post-fight press was as hilarious as it could have possibly been.
I'll tell you what, Regan, you might be right, but I think the scary thing is Usyk might just have had more in his locker than he's shown. That he might actually we might not have ever seen Usyk hit top gear until now. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, it's mad. It's crazy, isn't it? Can I throw a question out there?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got an answer, and I'm not going to say mine until you guys have said it. Who do you think right now gives Alexander Usyk the toughest fight out of everyone? Like, and you can say the person who he's fought before. I don't think you guys will, but who do you think gives him the toughest fight now?
That's a really good question. out of everyone that's out there now,
Yeah.
it's a difficult one because he's beat, you know, Joshua twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice. Moses, I feel, is an unknown quantity because of experience. But that might be the wild card in all of this as well, because he's inexperienced. So I'm going to give you two answers. Yeah. So the wild card for me will be Moses Itama. However, I think probably out of everyone that's out there now at heavyweight, it's probably Joshua.
Okay.
And the reason, I think in the second fight, I saw more improvements. Even though he lost, I saw more improvements from Joshua. He was trying, but he just couldn't execute. He looked, you know, he gave a better performance of himself than the first fight. The first fight, I think, wasn't completely one-sided. I think if you look at, you know, body language and who's been in a fight, Usyk looked like he'd been in two wars. So I'd probably go for that. Ra, what do you think?
I disagree with you on that. I agree that AJ gave him a harder fight that second time round, and up till the championship rounds, it was fairly even before Usyk's incredible stamina helped him run away with it. But I think since then, AJ has regressed too much. Naturally, you know, this is a punishing game. It does take a toll on fighters. I think, as you said, Moses Itama because of the hand speed, hand and foot speed, and the arrogance of youth. But there's still a lot of question marks about him. Like, you know, we know Usyk is second to none for stamina and endurance. We don't know how Moses will hold up. But at 20, in the prime of youth, you would expect it would hold up better than guys like Fury and AJ, who are well into their 30s. So that combined with the hand speed, I'm inclined to think it would be him. Others say Caballel, heavyweight in the prime of his career.
Parker, let me just say, let's throw Parker in there as well.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
Parker.
either of them two, but well, let's wait and see. But we'll have to see if Usyk entertains any of them. I personally don't think he will, but it might be one for the fantasies. We got to sort of wrap things up soon. I just want to get your guys' upset of the year so far. But I'll go first. It's a bit of an off-key one. I actually think it was Lamont Roach getting the draw against Gervonta Davis. Although it weren't a win, a lot of people thought it should have been a win. And I just think within the context of what Tank has done so far in his career and how his opponents are almost always expected to have been handpicked to get knocked out by him, and given that Roach hadn't looked amazing up until then, the manner in which he sort of at times stood with Tank and fought it out and got the better of him in the exchanges, I'd like to think that was probably the upset of the year. And we've seen since then the rematch isn't happening. Could Lamont Roach be Tank Davis's Tarver? Time will tell. What about you, Regan? Upset of the year?
Upset of the year, I've got to go. I think for the reasons I said earlier, I think Justice Hooney, Fabio will do Justice Hooney just because of the weight. Like not because of I didn't think Fabio could win, just because I think by the fight was how the fight was going. I thought it was dead on arrival. To be honest, I thought it was coasting. Yeah. The other one, and this might be recency. I do want to say why I think Ajit Caballel could beat Alexander Usyk, though, by the way. But I think Ricardo Sandoval beating Kenshiro Taraji last week. Mm-hmm. I thought Kenshiro was. I think he's been absolutely unbelievable, and if you look at his run, I think since he beat the guy who beat him, I think I don't know if it's Ibuki. You look at the amount of fighters he's beaten who have then become world champion after he's beaten them. I think Ibuki, Ola Squaga, and another guy. I think Sandoval kind of turned up Yeah, I know. I think only Danny Gilfillan, I think, from Boxing News picked Sandoval, and I will give him his dues because I thought they brought him over just to give Taraji another good name on his record. But yeah, I don't know. What about you, Dave?
I've got two. So I've got Resendez beating Caleb Plant via split decision in May. I think everything was lined up, and sometimes, you know, a spanner in the works happens, and I think this was the spanner in the works. I think because of this now, it's moved Caleb Plant back down the queue, should we just say, back down the list, unfortunately, as well. Great fighter, but I think that was an upset in world boxing, as was Fisher versus Allen too. Now, for me, I think that was an upset, not because of, you know, Dave and, you know, his amount of losses. I think for Matchroom and the stable, they kind of needed Fisher to win. It was a big stage for that, and I think, you know, from a young heavyweight who's got a massive fan base, we were both there at the presser. I mean, we couldn't get a word in, could we, because of everyone with flags and, you know, Romford Bull shouting, the whole lot. It was electric. So yeah, I mean, for that, I think that was an upset. But I'll give you another upset as well. The Partygate antics for Daniel Dubois.
Oh.
That coming out was an upset. And I mean this in terms of, you know, sometimes we see things that happen behind the scenes and everything all forming. Had Daniel Dubois won, it would be a case of, look, you know, he's done that and he's won. That was upsetting purely because of, one, the stage. We don't know what's going on in Daniel's head and his family's, you know, why that was done. We don't know the reasons why, but that was an upset to watch because you think, you know, this young man has gone there. This is what's happened, and then it starts to unravel, and other stuff started to unravel as well. I don't know if you saw the interview on TalkSport where Lawrence Okoli and I think it was Joseph Parker. They were discussing.
They're shocked up. They're completely bewildered by it. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the sort of upsets for me, and I want to throw another event in actually, which just two, Taylor versus Serrano 3, massive, not just for women's boxing but for sport. I mean, boxing worldwide, that was an absolutely huge event. Well done kudos to MVP for pulling that off, and also, it wasn't an event, but I really like the fact that Derek Chisora made Otto Wallin levitate for about 3 or 4 seconds. Regan, you never went to that fight, but I was saying, how could you miss that? That fight was,
I know,
that was good, Dave, levitating. Dua Lipa would have been proud over that.
Nice. Yeah, Dave, I was going to say, Chisora, I wasn't there because, like, I think that was just one fight night that I just gave it a miss, but I watched it from home. Is that one of Chisora's like best performances of recent times? Like, it is, isn't it?
It has to be. I mean, look, you know, it goes to prove as well, you know, you can teach an old dog new tricks. No disrespect to Derek Chisora. You can teach. He's gotten better with age, hasn't he, Derek Chisora? If Bob Dylan was still to make folk songs about boxers, please pick Derek. He's got everything, you know, about him that's a bit of folklore. He's got a folk song written all about him. I mean, he's polarizing sometimes, but I think you get what you want with Derek Chisora. You know, he brings comedy value. He can knock out power. And I still say it to this day, the blueprint against Usyk lies somewhere between Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury.
I think so. Oh, David, we're there. There we go.
And is there somewhere. But Derek Chisora is on switch. Did you get all of that?
No, it literally just jumped around there. That was so annoying. I was waiting for you to come back. Go on, say a little bit. Say a little bit. What did I miss, Dave?
I don't know. I mean, I was just saying, look, if Bob Dylan was to write a folk song, please write one about Derek Chisora, because he's got everything that captures the imagination of the public, world boxing. He's a polarizing individual. However, he brings knockout power when he can. He knows how to get a crowd going that owe Derek Chisora a chance. He's, if we're talking about wrestling terms, he's turned from heel to hero now. Yeah. So he's great for British boxing. He's getting better as he ages, and he's going to be fighting for a world title potentially. I mean, that's what the talks is. So yeah, I think that event was good. One of his best performances I've seen in a long time, since the beating of Joe Joyce. And I did say before I got disconnected, the the blueprint to beat Usyk lies somewhere between Derek Chisora's first fight with Usyk, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury, in my opinion. Between there is a game plan there that could beat Usyk. So yeah, what a fight!
I mean, especially at heavyweight, I'm pretty sure. I do want to touch on what you said about the all-female card at Madison Square Garden. I mean, what a moment that was on Netflix as well. I think that's going under the radar. I think we're going to talk about Canelo Crawford, I'm sure, in a minute. But like, boxing on Netflix, I don't think is getting as much credit as it deserves. It's literally appealing to everyone, and it's so like, you log into Netflix that week, it was there. Like it wasn't. It's not hidden under a back channel. Like, Netflix are pushing that with side content and things like that, which is what I think all promoters are doing to an extent. But I think they should do it more often as well. But I think, and also, but the amount of Brits on the card as well. Like, obviously Katie's Irish, but what she's done for boxing in the home nations is absolutely unbelievable. But you've got Chantal Cameron, Ellie Scottney, Ramla Ali, Savannah Marshall was on the card as well. And I know she's Canadian, but Tam Thibault trains in the UK as well. So she trains up in Sheffield. Unbelievable talent on that card. But also, I think the star of the night that night was Ellie Scottney. Ellie Scottney is, I think, pound for pound top 4 female boxers on the planet. I think maybe even 3. I genuinely think she's going to be. We'll talk about home stars. I'm pretty sure I'd love Ellie. They need to have Ellie Scottney fight in London. I think with Jake Paul, with the backing of Jake Paul, I think that's a recipe for success right there. And I think she'll be undisputed this year, and I think she can go undisputed in multiple weight classes. I think Ellie was absolutely wicked that night against the WBC world champion. So,
and she's a lovely woman too, just the sort that we need as a appropriate role model in the women's game. I think she should be perfect. Reeks, what do you think about? Dave was mentioning there the blueprint to beat Usyk. There is no blueprint, I don't think. The closest guy that came to it was Myris Bradis. But so, you've got a different view as to who's the biggest threat to him.
I just think Ajit Kabayel. I think Parker deserves a shot over everyone. Like, I think he hit the wins. Like, how do you beat Wilder and Zhang back to back and not get a world title shot? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But Ajit Kabayel, I think his powers of recovery are incredible. So if you get hurt, he's still dangerous. You've got to be cautious of him. I think he punches to the body like a middleweight. I think he's so fast, and I picked him to beat Zhilei Zhang by stoppage because of that reason as well. I think, as we know, I don't know necessarily how much I buy into the Usyk's acceptable to the body. Mainly, a lot of people have Team Dubois running with that because he hit him low, incredibly low. He didn't hit him in the body; he hit him somewhere else. But yeah, I think I think he has the best chance to beat. I'm not saying he does beat him before anyone comes at me in the comment section. I'm just saying I think he has the best chance of beating Alexander Usyk out of everybody, because I think he's young enough, I think he's fast enough, and all of his last wins have come by stoppage. Yeah, they have. He's got 3 back-to-back stoppage wins that have earned him that interim world title. And I will say as well, I've never met. Well, there is a lot of nice people in boxing who like, but I think he's a heavyweight. We're all kind of sort of slightly nervous around heavyweights. They're just big human beings. But he is one of the nicest men that I've ever met in my entire life. Like I would genuinely, Parker, I'd love for him to get the shot and to fight Usyk, but Ajit Kabayel, I think he has the capabilities to do it. I'm not saying he stops him or anything like that, but I think he's quick enough, he's young enough, he's fresh enough, and his powers of recovery, especially, we were just talking, weren't we, Ra? That shot that Zhang caught him with that sent him on his back was a heavy shot. Like those are the shots that knocked out Joe Joyce. Those are the shots that kind of worried Filip Hrgović in that fight. Like, that's a contentious defeat on his resume. But and it's the shot that knocked out Deontay Wilder as well. Let's not forget that. But I think Ajit Kabayel has the best chance of beating Usyk. I think he's absolutely unbelievable.
Interesting. Kabayel is what we would, by modern standards, call a smaller heavyweight in the sort of 230 to 240 pound range, which, as we've seen, might be better to deal with someone with Usyk's movement. Also, it's worth noting, Usyk has been down a couple of times in the amateurs, only from body shots, notably from Artur Beterbiev. So we know he's never been significantly hurt by a headshot, even by the likes of AJ and Dubois. So if there is a chink in the armor, it might be the midriff. But let's see. Alex Krasuk's come out tonight and said he expects Usyk to retire. No arguments with that decision if he decides to do that. It'd open the division up. So let's see. Just to finish off, guys, let's talk about what there is to look forward to. I'll start as a little bit of a flex for us and Punch-Out Boxing. I am off to Japan. Hopefully, it's not confirmed yet, but hopefully to cover Inoue v MJ, the undisputed super bantamweight championship. I've been telling our colleagues over at ESBR for the past 18 months that Inoue is due a defeat, as seemingly invincible fighters always are. And I said it would be MJ as the man who does it. Let's see. I've got to go all the way to Japan to see if my prediction comes true or not. So that's 14th of September. I'll be making my way to Japan. Of course, that weekend is one of the most epic weekends of boxing we're going to see in Las Vegas. Canelo v Bud Crawford to settle for, once and for all, who's the top pound-for-pound fighter over there. What a card that is. I believe that's going to be on Netflix. And Reeks, are you going to Las Vegas or are you going to Belfast?
I'm going to Belfast. Matt Linehan, my esteemed colleague now at Boxing Social, he's told me that he messaged me the other day saying, "You're all good for Belfast." Yes, mate. I'm not mad about it, Matt, because I'm high on Crocodile. But Matt Linehan is going to Canelo Crawford, but I will be watching whilst I'm editing all my post-fight interviews from Belfast, whilst I've caught up with Paddy or Lewis after they've become IBF welterweight world champion. But what a weekend that is. I forget that Inoue Akhmatov is on the Sunday, because I think it's an unbelievable fight. He is due a defeat in Inoue. Akhmatov, I'm so high on him. He's wicked. I think Junto's the man to beat Inoue, in my opinion. Mainly because of Inoue's last fight, but Akhmatov can do it. I don't think he does. He can do it because he's unbelievable. But Canelo Crawford, what am I jumping the gun here? Who's picking Crawford in that fight out of you guys?
I'm not.
No, neither am I.
In fact, I've been confident in Crawford from the moment he asked for the fight. I'm sure closer to the time we'll be doing a bit more of a detailed analysis of that. But yeah, my early pick for that one is Bud Crawford.
Oh,
How do you see him winning as well, by the way? Just out of interest.
Points. Yeah, but I think it will be.
Yeah, I'd like to see Crawford win, but I just can't get past the weight and how much Canelo rehydrates to. I mean, you know, he's absolutely huge at the weight, and this has been contested at what, super middle?
Yeah.
And some of his best wins have come at super middle. You know, when he pushed the boat out a bit further, and I'll keep on saying it, and I've said it so many times, but I'll say it again. How on earth did they make Bivol an underdog against Canelo? I don't know. You know, that's Bivol's natural weight. He was a gold medalist at that weight. He was the world champion at that weight. He still is the world champion. He was undefeated. So how on earth did they make him the underdog? I do not know. So I think Canelo's best wins are at super middleweight, and I think he'll beat Crawford on points. I can't see him stopping him. I think Crawford's too much of a proud man and he'll carry himself through the fight. He'll have moments of brilliance. But I want to be proven wrong as well. I'd like to see a mix-up. Everyone likes a good upset, don't they? You know, everyone likes a good shake-up. But you're going for Canelo too, Regan. Is it?
Yeah,
I
think the weight's too much. I would. This is going to sound so pathetic, and I know it's not a proper boxing, but like I think he can stop Crawford. I think that weight is like he was undisputed at 140, wasn't he? Yeah, undisputed at super lightweight. I think the weight's too much, and I think the only reason how he doesn't stop him is if Canelo sort of like, do you know how in his last couple of fights, I think he's carried the opponent. He's like kind of almost on a mercy mission. I think the main one was Munguia. I think the last one I remember watching fully. I think the last person he's actually tried to knock out was Billy Joe Saunders, because I just think he absolutely despised Billy Joe.
Yeah, that was pure hatred, wasn't it? There was no respect there. He wanted to punish him, and he wanted to destroy him and what he stood for.
I think that was the last time he really went out to kind of knock out his opponent. But we'll see. I'll go Canelo points, but I think he can knock out Crawford if he chooses to. Mainly because there's weight divisions, weight classes for a reason. I think Bud's unbelievable, but also I think size played a massive part against the fight with Madrimov. I had that. I think because I was also high on Madrimov. I'm like the captain of the Israel Madrimov fan club over here. But yeah, I thought that was a particularly close fight. A lot again. Ask Archie, get him on a show. He staunchly disagrees with me on that one. I think Madrimov showed that size, even at super welterweight, was nearly too much for Bud Crawford as an unbelievable fighter as he is. You don't do what you did to Errol Spence as easily as he did. But yeah, I'm going Canelo quite comfortably, I think.
It might change. You know,
I could get a week out. Steve Bunce said on his podcast the other day, and this is why I love Steve Bunce. He says his opinion can change on the fight until the ring walk, and then because if he sees someone's like legs buckle on the ring walk, then that's when his opinion's fixed. So shout out to Steve Bunce. I'm allowed to change my opinion until 4 a.m. UK time on September the 14th. That's my rule. I'm following Buncey's rule. It's not my rule, it's Buncey's rule.
Well, gents, we will revisit this, I think, in about a month on Fight Week. Yeah, and I mean, anything else you gents are looking forward to? I mean, there's that huge, amazing card back in Riyadh, November the 22nd.
Yeah,
multiple top world title fights. There's talk of a Christmas or Boxing Day bonanza with all the Japanese stars being brought over to Riyadh. There's talk of Ajit Kabayel having his homecoming in Germany. Me, the roving reporter for Punchout Boxing, I've already bagged that, Dave. Unless you've got to head over to Germany for some reason, I'll want a trip over to Germany to add to my boxing postcard list. Any other big events that you're hoping to see this year?
I don't, if you don't mind, I've got a question. So on that November bill, you've got Yard fighting Benavidez for the WBC world title. You've got Sam Noakes fighting Abdullah Mason for the vacant WBO. Dalton Smith fighting Sabril Matias for the vacant for the WBC. I don't know if there's any more Brits on that bill.
Not yet.
We've got one male world champion at the moment. Do we have 3 more on November the 22nd?
What do you think, Dave?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I feel like you want to say complete no, Dave.
No, look. Benavidez and Yard is a cracking fight. I as a Brit and someone I've followed, I've only interviewed Benavidez once, so there's no interviewee bias there. Yard I've interviewed a few times. I like what he stands for. He's great for the sport. I want him to win. It's going to be tough. That's all I'm saying. However, can he pull it off? Yeah, he could. Of course, he can pull it off. He's got 2 hands. He can hit, and he gave a great account of himself. Even though he came up short against Kovalev, but he came up short against Beterbiev. But he was in there, wasn't he, up until the stoppages? But it's going to be a tough night, isn't it? It's going to be a tough. I can see Sam Noakes winning.
Same.
I'm going to go for Sam Noakes, but I will say it's going to be a tough night for our guys. I'll always be flying the British flag, if I'm being honest, but it's going to be a tough night for our boys. Sam Noakes, I think, is probably he's got the best shout out of everybody. Ra, what do you think? You going on pure patriotism, or what do you think?
I think out of those 3, I think we'll get one new world champion. I suppose Dalton Smith has the best chance because we've seen Sabril Matias get outboxed before. Arguably got outboxed last time out. It was very close, but I know Puello is he's saying that he should get his rematch and blah blah blah. There's definitely an argument that Puello won, and of course Matias did get outboxed by Liam Porra. So I think Dalton's got the best chance. I think Sam and Mason, Abdullah Mason is close to 50-50. I think I'm favouring Mason, but when I think about it, I can't think of any reason other than just the presumption that the standard is higher in America because it's very deep at lightweight in America. But based on what they've actually done in the ring, there's no reason actually to make Abdullah any sort of a significant favourite. And Yard, he's the underdog, but I still think he's got a chance. I'm not high on Benavidez the way some people are. I think he's technically fairly basic. He's got a tremendous engine. He's big at the weight, but he can be hit. Let's see how he copes with the first time he gets hit by a real light heavyweight puncher, which he will. So yeah, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot. Oh, sorry, I agree with a lot what you said, right? I think Dalton Smith has the best chance. Again, if we're talking about how many fighters I'm captain of their fan club over, I think Dalton Smith will admit it to himself that I am captain of his fan club. But I think whilst Sabril Matias is not an easy fight, but what a cracking fight that is. But I do think he has the best chance out of all of the Brits on that card to win. Again, Sam Noakes, not to repeat you, I think Sam Noakes versus Abdullah Mason is 50-50. I think not his last fight against Nakathila, but the one before. No. The one before, he got dropped a few times, didn't he, Mason? I think, but obviously he recovered and then stopped the guy himself. So, but I think Sam Noakes has proved he's got the engine for 12 rounds. He's proved he's got the punch power to stay for 12 rounds. I think I'm high on Sam Noakes as well. I'd love for him to do it. I think I don't like the Benavidez fight for Anthony Yarde. Yarde, big puncher, yeah. I don't think that's a particularly nice fight for him. But I think we'll have two new world champions on November the 22nd. I think.
Well, with Benavidez as well. When you know, I spoke to him a few years ago, and there was a lot of talk of Abel Sanchez. You know, about Benavidez's power when he was younger, when he used to just go into the gym, and he said, look, you know, this guy, Abel Sanchez, wouldn't just say it about anybody, you know, but this guy is something special. He would you know, train with Golovkins and everything like that at a young age, and he just saw something there. The fight that needs to be made eventually is him and Canelo somewhere down the line. Whether they do that at light heavyweight, whether they do that super middleweight, I don't know. But
I don't think we get that anymore. I think
it's a shame. It's a shame if that doesn't happen. That's a shame for world sport, because that's something that I and a lot of people wanted to see. Right?
That could have been I think if that fight was going to happen, it'd happen when they were both at super middleweight. I think Benavidez realised, that maybe when he fought, did he fight Vosdik before he fought Morel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he realised when he took the Vosdik fight he was never getting the Canelo fight, because I think because Turkey was quite high on that fight, wasn't he? Canelo Benavidez, but now I don't think it's been mentioned since when they've got Benavidez on the card. So I don't think we get that fight now. But what that could have been one of the biggest fights in Mexican boxing history. No, like, I think that could have been absolutely electric.
Yeah, that could have been a City versus United in their primes.
Yeah.
But look, you know, we've had a great sort of talk here, guys, and unfortunately time's going to be coming up soon. But I am going to throw one more out there as well. Ben versus Eubank 2. You know, is it going to capture the public's imagination as what the first fight did? Because the first fight was massive, and they always say as well, sequels can either be better or worse. Is this a Wembley Stadium jobby, or is it back to Tottenham? What do you reckon, guys? And Rye's a Tottenham Hotspurs fan as well.
And I didn't go to the first one. No, I can't see. I mean, it was a novelty fight to start with, and novelty fights by definition are only good as a one-off. So I think that might be one reason why it's stalling now. Maybe the powers that be aren't able to stump up the sort of money that all the parties want, and maybe that's the delay. I'm inclined to think. Personally, I hope so. I think it should stay as a memorable one-off, and both fighters can go the correct way for their careers, whether that's world title shots or, in Eubank's case, retirement or other big money novelty fights, if that's what he wants to do.
I'm going to be so excited for that second one. I don't even care. It's the first one was unbelievable. Obviously, we're not going to have the "he's here" moment where and then the ring walk, and then the ring walks with both dads for the first time. We're not going to have that again. But I think the fight it'll pick up as round 13. I think it will go whilst it wasn't it wasn't a Beterbiev Bivol 2. It wasn't a technical cancel out of each other and then they just, but it was as classic fights go. It was a brilliant watch, and the occasion was unbelievable. Like that, yeah. Both Nigel and Hubert. You'd almost want Nigel. You don't, by the way. Like I'm not petitioning for Nigel and Chris to come out of retirement, but like you'd watching it there, you almost wish both Nigel and Chris kind of decreased in age by 15 years and then just fought as the co-main event or the main event to them. Do you know what I mean? Like it was that type of thing. Like, but I'm gonna be like, I hope it's in London, and even in, I think we're gonna get Fury Chisora vibes where winter stadium fights and everyone wraps up warm again. But yeah, and I'm drinking copious amount of free coffee to stay warm. But I'm gonna be just as excited as the first one for that fight. I don't know about you, Dave. Yeah, unbelievable. The whole fight week was incredible as well.
It was amazing. I think hospitality as well from all camps. It was great, and it was great to see the fighters. And finally, when the bell rang, you think this is something special. When the ring walks were sounded, and it was amazing. And like you, I'll be eager to watch it as well. Let's wrap up then, Ra. I mean, look, Regan, where can people follow you? I mean, this is going out on International Boxing News as well, but where can people follow you in your journey?
So my journey at Regan_SLAYMAKER on Twitter /X, depending on what generation you're from. International Boxing News on Instagram. Regan.SLAYMAKER, if I let you follow me on Instagram as well, go for it. And then the majority of my interviews will now be found on Boxing Social as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for all of those. Interview with David Adelaide come out, my first one. And then another one, then I should be in Saudi as well, covering the town of White. So you can find all my stuff on a plethora of accounts.
Good stuff. Well, Rav, over to you. What have you got coming up next?
Exciting journey for Regan. Yeah, bit of a quiet summer for a few weeks, but of course we've got the big top tier show coming up the first week of September. That's going to be a banger back in Brentwood, and then of course the week after that, like I said, that big trip to Japan, a trip of a lifetime. So fingers crossed, fans, keep your fingers and toes crossed that I'll get media credited to that. It's very difficult in Japan. They got a different way of doing things, but hopefully I'll be able to get you content from that. And then, of course, whatever domestic shows do come up through the rest of the year, we'll be aiming to attend to. And Dave, you tell us to finish off what you've got coming up.
Yep. So yeah, bit of a quiet one as well, but hopefully I'll be there for Sheffield October the 11th, which is my birthday as well. So hey, that'll be good for the day. Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll revisit that again. So that's the next one I'm planning to attend. I may be over at some small hall shows on August the 16th over in the East Side Rooms in Birmingham, and then just whatever's coming up, to be fair, Matchroom Queensbury. Unfortunately, we're not going to be taking the trip to Scotland. We made the decision for that one, didn't we, Rob? For October the 4th. But yeah, just keep on having a look out for our content. As Ross said as well, we're available on YouTube, Facebook. The magazine's available now as well over on Amazon. Give us all a shout out. Thank you for listening today and watching. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to International Boxing News as well. Our colleagues from there are doing a great job. And yeah, just watch all of our content.
Stay tuned.